Hey you guys, it is such a gloomy and rainy day outside today, so I figured it would be a great opportunity to sit down here and talk with you just on some tips on how I keep my garden healthy. So there are different steps you need to take to keeping a garden healthy. The first thing I do is get myself a little notebook and a journal, because that is going to be so important to go back to and look at your guide for the next year to come. You know, when you go and plant your garden for the next year, you're going to be able to go in that book and look and see, okay, well, I needed to treat this before this season because, you know, in the springtime, bugs start to come around a little more often. I know that because we've been gardening in Florida here for a few years now, and every time we just get out of winter and we are getting into spring, these aphid, sap-sucking leaf guys come sneaking around and creeping in my garden, and we get bug infestations so quickly. So I know before that, as soon as that heat starts coming around, that I have to go and treat my garden with some neem oil, take preventative measures with that. Now, I talk about neem oil a lot, and a lot of you have been asking me how I use it, what I use, and so we're just going to take you on a quick tour and tips today. Not basically a tour, just some tips and some guides to what I do here. Now, the first thing I do is a garden check every morning. And what that is I go around to all my plants, whatever I have, wherever it's at, indoors, outdoors, and I go throughout my garden. Now, that's going to take quite a while when you first start out because, you know, you're not used to checking plants, you're not used to dealing with problems, and things are going to pop up, and you might have to, you know, stop for a minute and deal with a situation, get some dead foliage off of something, or, you know, put a plant off to the side for a second, write it down in your little journal there. This way, when you're done with your garden check, you can then go back to it and fix that problem. So I go around every day. When I first started, that took me a good 3-4 hours to go throughout my whole garden, check all my plants indoors, out, and you know, fix what's going on, water what needs to be watered, and just figure out each plant as it grows. Now, when you're growing a plant, it's going to be different for the type of environment you're in, for the soil you're using, for the container you have, or just, you know, the amount of rain you're getting. Just everything comes into play with it, the location it is outside. So, you know, just take the basic tips that you're finding out online from us and use them in your own way for your area. Snow is going to be a lot different for you guys, you know, than me here in Central Florida. So, you know, take measurements for snow for you guys that you need to with your plants. Get a greenhouse, get some blankets over them, whatever you need to do to keep your plants warm during that winter. Or just go by the gardening guide from, you know, the Rustic Garden, or, you know, Charles Downing. He gardens in snow. I think he gets pretty cold weather out there. So, you know, go by somebody around your neighborhood, around your area that has the same climate as you, with taking basic information. You're going to learn about, like, you know, the sun, the soil, the pot size, the season plants are being able to be planted in. You know, you can only grow certain vegetables in the cooler weather versus the hotter weather. Like here, I can't grow peas. My peas totally died. As soon as we hit above 75, those peas wilted on me. They turned brown because they cannot tolerate the heat here in Florida with the humidity we have. So they died. I know peas are done for the season for me, and anything really cool weather vegetables like that, we really can't grow anymore because summer's coming in a few months. So you want to be thinking about spring plants and summer plants for sure, especially things that are going to take 70 days, 90 days to get to maturity. You want to be planting that right now for the spring, getting into spring, so you have plants to maturity that you're picking throughout the summer. This way, when the summer heat gets there, like we have here in Central Florida, you know, my tomatoes don't take a poop on me in the middle of maturity season, you know, and I know I'm going to be picking produce before that heat comes. So just pay attention to that, what type of season you're planting your plants in. And I do plant off season here. You can definitely try that out. I try everything new here in the garden, and I love a challenge. You know, I love to plant off season. We've been growing peppers all winter, and they've been producing for me. I've been picking peppers off of them all winter. So that's kind of amazing. And just, you know, teach yourself, learn yourself, study off of that plant, buy that plant, make sure you're studying and learning from it. Make sure that soil pH is correct. Now, soil pH is so important throughout the garden. Let me finish with the garden check first of all. You know, you should be going throughout your garden, putting them plants to the side, dealing with them after. And garden checking is going to take a couple hours. to begin with until you get a method down, until you grab a system. Grab a system down as fast as you can, and then this way it takes you a half hour over time versus, 3 hours growing throughout that garden. Because it only takes me about a half hour now to check my whole garden, inside, outside, and I have like 150 different types of plants. So, and then I treat everything after. So definitely, stay organized with your gardening. It's going to help you a lot more in the long run. And then your soil pH. Soil pH is so important. Let me see here. I have a soil test meter. This is so important to have in the garden. This is a 3-way. It does soil pH, the moisture in the soil, and then the sunlight, the amount of sunlight you're getting or how dark it is in that type of situation. And it's really easy to have on hand because it can tell you exactly what you need just putting it in that soil. I even bought a digital fertilizer tester, which I'm so excited about. Can't wait to use it. It was $20 from Burpee, but it's going to test how fertile my soil is because I'm kind of curious. And why not? Why not keep it on hand? We're going to be growing on a bigger scale here, so why not have the right tools I need? And that's digital, so no batteries. I love that. And the soil pH is so important because if you don't have like a neutral soil pH, like a 7 for your peppers and your tomatoes and your cucumbers, then your foliage is not going to grow right, and you might get poor blooms, poor growth. Them nutrients are going to lock up on them roots, and then those roots will lock up with the nutrients, and then those roots will not suck up the nutrients from your soil. In turn, it can start to show like a nutrient deficiency because it's actually getting a nutrient deficiency. It's not sucking up them nutrients properly. So testing your soil is so important, guys. Definitely find out what type of soil pH you need for the type of plant you're growing. Everything is going to be different. Veggies usually need to be at a neutral pH soil, which is like a 7. And then my blueberry and blackberry are an acidic soil. So they go at like a 4.5 for my blueberry, and then a 5.5 for my blackberry. So just watch that with gardening because it can really lock up your plant's roots and nutrients. And then your plant won't suck up the proper nutrients it needs. The next thing I do is just, make sure I'm preventatively spraying on a fungicide system and a pesticide system, especially here in Florida. We get invaded with every kind of bug here. We're already starting with the aphids. I can see them creeping around on my foliage. So I started a spray. What I use is a foliage spray of neem oil once every 7 to 10 days, a little more often in the summertime, so every 7 days on the money, because then bugs will go creeping around if not. So I like to keep them away. It doesn't so much kill the bugs off, but it deters them. It does kill eggs though. It gets rid of all them eggs, and it does kill some bugs off, but not the good bugs, the bad bugs. And then the caterpillars, stuff like that, it kind of deters. Sometimes caterpillars will suck that neem oil up like they will drink it, the regular neem oil. So you might have to invest in the neem oil for worms and caterpillars, but it works really good. And I use any type of neem oil I use it at 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon of water, mostly 2 tablespoons because, things need to be at full strength for me over here. Sometimes marigold sunflowers, I go the 1 tablespoon. Sensitive plants, you want to go the 1 tablespoon. Go a little lighter, less is more with those. Especially marigold flowers, the flower on the plant. You can spray the foliage at full strength, but not that little flower up there because it can burn. So I just don't spray my flowers at all so I don't hurt that marigold or sunflower that I am growing. You're waiting such a long time to grow them flowers, so why hurt that flower, That neem oil will take care of it. Bugs usually creep up from the bottom of the soil anyway, and that's why it's so important to keep weeds and stuff away from your garden. Because pests love weeds, they encourage disease to stick around and create a breeding ground for your bugs to stick around your plant, and that's no here. So I treat with neem oil once every 7 to 10 days, 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon of rainwater, and a 1/4 teaspoon of Dawn non-scented dish soap. It has to be non-scented. It can be any kind of dish soap you have, but it needs to be non-scented, guys, because you don't want to be putting lavender scents in your plants. You know what I'm saying? So just go with that and then mix it up all together. Incorporate that together. The Dawn soap will help incorporate the neem oil, and then you can go ahead and spray your foliage down once every 7 to 10 days. The other step I take in the garden is spraying my foliage with a foliage feeding once a week. So once every 7 days, I go around all my plants besides my bamboo, my cactus, my air plants, and my succulents. These guys usually get a diluted nutrient system with the Dynagrow spray that I use. So that's different. But my veggies and my herbs and my other plants, they all get once a week with magnesium Epsom salt, non-scented, and then the quarter teaspoon of the Dynagrow. Mixed all together. You might need to wait like 10 minutes for the Epsom salt to incorporate with each other, but it will dissolve eventually and within 5 or 10 minutes time. So then you can go ahead and spray your plants. This way you're not leaving a chunk of that Epsom salt on there and starts to burn your foliage. It can burn there, you know, letting that chunk sit on your foliage like that. So make sure everything's dissolved all the way, and then you know you're good to go. Spray all your plants' foliage, top, bottom, wherever you got. You could even soak the soil if you need to, but that's usually all I do for foliage spraying. Make sure the nutrients you're getting for foliage spraying says for specifically foliage, and then you know you're not going to get any chance of burning. Anything I'm saying to spray, whenever I say spraying, you want to always spray in indirect sunlight. Shade, no sun. No sun at all, guys. I wait at night till that sun goes down. After 5, 6, 7 o'clock, when that sun isn't going to pop out no more, I know by the morning my plants are not going to have any neem oil on them really anymore. That's going to be too strong to burn those leaves. So that's why I like to spray at night. Now it says you can spray the neem oil during the day in the morning before that sun creeps out. But in a few hours, in my eyes, you know, that sun's going to go creeping on out in a few hours. And if there's any neem oil on those leaves really heavy, it's going to burn them leaves. They tell you not to spray that in direct sunlight for a reason. And always test spray the bottom, no matter what you're using, to make sure that plant can handle that product that you're using. I hope this video helps you guys in the best way possible and it wasn't too long for you. Hope you learned something great here. And remember, always do a garden check. It will get easier throughout your gardening stages. And just keep at it, guys. Don't give up. I'm here if you need any help, always. And it's what I love to do for you. So till next time, grow something great. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.